Chef Marcus, how is your day going there?
I'm good. Right now, I'm about to start a cooking live demo with together with Bombay Bramble, so I'm excited about that. I'm in Los Angeles, and my son is on the beach, so I can't complain.
Yes, that was the first thing I was going to ask you about, the Bursting with Berries cooking series. How long did you have to keep it a secret that you were going to be working on this great project for? Because, sometimes there's info that's embargoed.
Yeah. No, it's been a lot of fun, and like my wife said today, after the demo, you better not come home without the bottle. So clear instruction from the wife. But it's been fun, because what's fun about this is that we've been able to work with artists and young chefs and really do some fun stuff in our community. And anytime we can do something like that, that's going to have impact and support one another, I'm all for it.
Yeah, the Bramble bottle is beautiful, I must say. Gladly, there's one about 15 feet behind me right here. To your credit and to the Bombay brand credit, a lot of the times when you speak, as somebody who interviews a lot of chefs and food professionals, a lot of the time you interview the person, you just find out that they're working with the brand for one day. Now, in your case, there's multiple cooking classes. I believe you're working with a bunch of artists in August. So I guess you have some faith in the Bombay brand there.
Yeah. No, it's been great to partner and be, really launching the product together, but also the impact that we can have collectively. Took a lot of inspiration from the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance is 100 years anniversary this year. We're coming up on Juneteenth. And it was really with that as one of the pillars, like what can we do, together. And the recipes are fun, but also so are the recipes that Joseph Johnson from Charcoal is going to do, Adrian Cheatham from Sunday Best, and of course my man Tristan from Red Rooster. So having impact on young talent, emerging talent coming up is something that I always love. Obviously with the Rise, my cookbook, we highlighted that. And then working with Diane and Say Adams, which are amazing artists connected to our community. So it's a lot of fun. It's going to be a good summer.
Yeah. Well, I used to live at 126th and Lenox. I think you know that area pretty well. And when I was living there was when Red Rooster was coming up and being this ultra cool place. And I remember one day reading page 6 in the New York Post, and they said, spotted at the Red Rooster, the band U2 dining downstairs. I went, what? They were there downstairs. And that's when I realized this is one of those restaurants that is not only cool, but highly rated as well. When did you start to realize that Red Rooster was going to be just okay and long-term and, not going to go out of business next month?
I have to say that a year like last year, when the world changed for all of us, was really when you realize you're privileged more than ever. Like a restaurant like Red Rooster could have gone under, but the fact that we're now part of the Harlem fabric and the community, so all those work and all those events and all those, whether it was church programs or cooking classes for kids or whatever we've done in our community, this was really the time when we needed it. When I saw people coming to our patio in January saying, we're okay, we're eating, we're joining, we come to the restaurant on a Thursday or on a Monday night. That's really when, so for me, this is all about gratitude.
Yeah.
And all the work that we put in those early days that you talk about. Sometimes you work and you don't really understand the purpose, but I think the community as such has really always been there for us. We were able to feed a lot of people during the pandemic together with work in the kitchen. And I do think that karma and energy, it always comes back, and it's been such a privilege to be part of it.
That is something that I do want to ask you about in a little bit, but a little more of a compliment about Red Rooster is that one of the things that I judge how great a restaurant on is how great the bread is. And the bread that came before the meal was so good that I was wondering if that was something that was consciously a lot of effort was put into, or just a coincidence that the bread is good before the meal.
Before we open, we have 30 different versions of cornbread. 30. And then, I think we're now at version 42 or something like that. And like anything else, like this is an evolving thing, right? Like the two things that I know I focused a lot on was, making sure, first of all, the 4 pillars of the restaurant: food, hospitality, of course, art and music. And in the food part, our fried chicken and our cornbread is kind of the pillars of what we built a lot on. So that had to be right. So I'm not a coincidence. A lot of effort with bakery and chefs that we're just committed to it. So yes, I'm glad that you liked our cornbread.
Well, tomorrow marks World Gin Day, and of course, working with Bombay. Putting you on the spot here, is there an item or two on the Red Rooster menu that you would say pairs best with the Bramble 75 cocktail recipe that you put together?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that the shrimp salad, for example, because it has the acid from the watermelon and the tomato, and then of course we're putting some blackberries in the salad. So, the cocktail is amazing just to sip, but it's also like great to eat with. So, not super spicy, but a heated sort of grilled shrimp dish that has that burst of flavor. I think some of that arugula helps out, and watermelon, tomato, blackberries. For me, it feels very summery.
Cool. Great answer there. It's almost like you know what you're doing. No, I'm kidding.
Almost. Almost.
And do I have it correct that what you're doing with Bombay is paired into a cocktail courier kit? Because that doesn't happen every day that cocktail courier is willing to put together a kit like that.
Yeah, we've had some great people working on this, and pairing. I mean, Bramble itself, it's such a delicious sort of just with that fruitiness, but then just adding some citrus, adding some honey, simple syrup, and then just topping it off with a little tonic or a little prosecco. Just make that perfect cocktail. It's easy, it's fun, and delicious.
Now bring it back to you and your success over here. Do I have it correct? There's 11 restaurants and 7 cookbooks?
There's, after when we come back fully from post the pandemic, there will be 11 restaurants. It's been rough, but we've been fortunate, and we've been able to make sure that our staff are working, and that was the main focus for us.
Okay, so there's those restaurants, there's those cookbooks, there's the Harlem Eat Up Festival. There's other things as well. And the only person that I can think of who has more jobs than you is Questlove. Is that a fair assessment? Maybe you, Questlove, and the filmmaker Mark Duplass from the Duplass brothers. I can't think of anyone who has more jobs. Yeah. So, and I mean that in a good way, because everything you have your hands on it. It's clear that you worked on it. You didn't just sign off and go, yep, you do it. Yeah. So one thing that I'm curious about is productivity. Is there a team that helps this all get done? Are you a big delegator?
No, well, I mean, MSG, we're very fortunate to the Red Rooster family. It's our family. MSG is a whole team. And, when you partner with people, great brands like Bombay, they come with just amazing, committed, hardworking people. So for us, it's about being selective in our partnerships and making sure that we can add value, either culturally or expertise in terms of cooking and so on. And the only way we can kind of like make food and beverage be part of the democratization of that, it's by working with great teams. So I can't do anything alone. And I just feel privileged and excited to be able to move the needle a little bit,
Do you start your day off with a to-do list?
I have it in my phone, trust me. But there's 2 to-do lists, because I can come in with my to-do list, and then my 4.5-year-old will flip that. So whatever you thought the day was, it's not going to be that. So just that he humbles me every day. So
it sounds like there's the to-do list, and then there's the realistic, I'm happy if these things get done to-do list. So there's 2 sets of books.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. And then at this point in your career, and I call it a career because it is a career, how much of what you're doing is you seeking it out versus things coming to you and you going, yes, no, maybe? Like, in other words, at this point in your career, is it more people are coming to you and you have to weed things out?
I think, food is very collaborative, and I think that, building Red Rooster took me 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to take on anything else that would sort of mud that view, and it was like studying, and then we built off that. So I think sometimes we have great collaborators come with products to us, things with us, projects to us, and sometimes we're part of it a little bit, like Independent Restaurant Coalition. I was part in the beginning, but I didn't start it. So it's great to join my colleagues and friends and have a great impact. World Central Kitchen was something Jose started, but we were a perfect match for them, right? So I love to collaborate, and we don't have to be the starters of everything, but like when it comes to restaurants and books, it's our ideas. And then sort of like great project comes around that. Harlem Meetup was a total collaboration between us and her colleagues, but also, why shouldn't Harlem have a great food festival? I'm like, no, it should have. So sometimes it's just asking more questions, but you got to constantly be surrounded with great people. Without great people, you can't do anything. And I'm lucky in that case.
Got it. You were so busy, which I'm going to reference for the 12th time, and a family man on top of that. But is there a second hobby or creative outlet outside of the food and beverage space that you have?
You're talking to a failed soccer player, and I see myself very often.
Really?
As a failed soccer player. It's nothing. I coach when I was a kid. So much what I learned from coach. I actually, there's similarities with kitchen, right? Kitchen, there's a chef and it's teamwork. In soccer, there's a coach and teamwork. So even if I can't play because I don't have time, I think about it a lot, especially now with the Euros coming up. It's a lot of fun, If only my son wouldn't throw away the remote control. That's the one thing we haven't figured out.
What's your position on the soccer field?
Oh, midfield, central midfield, running up and down.
Wow. The success of the Red Rooster was around the time when the New York Red Bulls came to the New Jersey area. Did you get to go to any Red Bulls games before life got too busy?
I got to go to more NYCFC because it's just up the street from me. But one of my favorite moments was actually playing soccer with Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry used to play, the great Arsenal great, but he played at Red Bull.
Yeah.
And I had a chance one day to go and play with him, which I took him up on like this. It was this. I didn't even have to think. They didn't even finish the sentence. I'm like, yes, I'll do that.
Wow, that is fantastic. I had no idea of that side of you. At what age did you realize that soccer wasn't happening?
Around 16, same age as I bursted into the food scene. And, again, there's a lot of familiarity. It's a lot of teamwork. It's a lot of, you got to collaborate and you got to be passionate,
Wow. Well, going back to what we were talking about with Bombay, it was kind of secretive for a little bit that, hey, you're going to be doing this. And of course, you wanted to hash out all the great ideas before it was announced and confirmed and all that. How far in advance? You don't have to tell me what it is, but what's the furthest ahead project that you've got? For example, is there something happening in 6 years that's eventually on your calendar that you're working on right now?
Well, I do know that the U.S. is going to have the World Cup 2026. I'm excited about that. I'll tell you that.
Wow. Okay. So that is really looking ahead right there. So going back to the whole productivity thing, there's the what you're going to do today, what you actually might get done, and then the 6 years from now kind of list. That's really incredible to me.
Being a chef, I think about Red Rooster in 6 years as well, because building a restaurant like that takes 4 years at least. So then, it's not that far off, thinking about location, thinking about what's next, you know what I mean? Because that is literally legacy work to me. It's not just opening a restaurant. It's part of my life in a major, major, major way.
So looking ahead, there are goals, to say the very least. You use the magic word, the L word, legacy. So it's incredible that you're able to think about that. But when it comes to recipes, something I'm curious about, Where do your ideas primarily come from?
Well, I think about, food, we can all experience the same thing. Sweet, salt, sour, bitter, umami, heat, salt, right? But we do it through different ways, through fragrance, through aesthetic, through texture. So that's like, the 9 pillars that I always draw out. And then seasonality obviously is a major piece of this. And are you coastal? I grew up on an island, so seafood will always be there early for me. So it's like, where are you in the country? Where are you in the place? So those are kind of like, if I'm on the water and it's summertime, doing as little as possible to the fish, comparing that with some great summer berries, for example, like so crudo of striped bass or sea bass right now with some pickled blackberries would be a wonderful light crudo lunch, for example.
Hence your cooking class series being called Bursting with Berries. Not a coincidence right there. I see what you did. So 3 quick questions, and then you are a free man. And I don't know if these are going to get 10-second answers or 2-minute answers. So the first one is, you're friends with a lot of musicians, or at least a lot of musicians come into your restaurants and you're friendly with them and you engage on social media. But do you have a favorite artist or 2 or 3 in the music world that you could tell me?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Prince, for me, just changed the really direction of music in such a major way. And that is massive influence on my life, from how to created his art. And, I don't know, it's the cold weather in Minneapolis in Sweden, but like, there's a lot of things that inspire me about Prince.
And actually, this wasn't intended to be the second question, but most people I know who have Swedish roots have a huge appreciation for heavy metal. It just seems like a normal thing. Is that your case? Do you have the heavy metal gene?
Of course we grew up with heavy metal. That's what you do, whether it's Iron Maiden or, I wouldn't call Europe any heavy metal, but they have long hair and guitars. But
I love Europe. Joey Tempest, great.
Yeah, Joey, of course. So, I would say he always roots with the Swedes. I would say that.
Awesome. Next question. Besides the many, many TV shows that we see you on regularly, do you have a recommendation for a TV show for someone who needs a new show to start watching?
Well, I think it's an amazing show that just launched on Netflix, High on the Hog. Obviously with Jessica Harris, amazing that she, from her book, High on the Hog, it's amazing. I think, the food landscape in TV is going to be even bigger because now you have all the streamers and stuff, so it's really exciting stuff. I've worked with Guy a lot on Restaurant Hustle, which really takes the viewer into how we went through the pandemic. So we're going to do follow-up on that. And we have a couple of other great shows in the works as well.
And my last question, this can include as much self-promotion as you want. It's any last words for the kids?
Keep cooking and be passionate about it and start broadcasting your stuff early, like whether it's you're broadcasting for your Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram friends, learn the basics, feed your fans, start cooking for your friends and family and tell your story,
Sure. I can't thank you enough for your time, the many years of great work you're doing charitably and in the kitchen and beyond. So looking forward to whatever your next project is there, Chef Marcus.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Paltrocast.